Okay, you're live.
We didn't hurt his feelings or anything, did we today?
I don't think so.
I know she.
You're live.
Don't make her act like she does.
We're live now. Don't talk about him. You might see this. All right, folks, we're live on YouTube, as all our meetings are. I would like to call the meeting to order. All the aldermen are here, along with Attorney Rocky Eaton and our clerk, Melissa Martin. If we could, I would love for Alderman Craig Bullock to lead us in the prayer and the pledge.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the privilege to be here tonight. Thank you for our wonderful city. Thank you for our residents. God, I pray that as we meet tonight and make decisions, that we will do so with your guidance and your provisions. And God, I pray that we will do things and say things that will glorify you in every way. Forgive us where we fail you. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I got two pairs up here, so I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No,
Look at all these, look at all these young folks. They don't even have glasses on. All righty, folks. I'd like to get a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would ask before public comment that I will move up. Is Corey Compton here? Yes, and we get Corey up and we will swear him in. And also I would take particular note of something that we've added, and we'll keep going forward. It may be something, it may be nothing, according to what's going on. We've got at the end, you'll notice after the adjournment, you will see a general work session that will allow the board, as I was fixing to post, to talk about things that aren't quite top level issues, not things that are not really ready to hit the agenda, and bring up concerns. And it just allows us to let the public know that the public can also come and use that time to give us concerns. Obviously, we have comments that you're fixing to do. That's where we usually handle those matters, but it's available to them as well. And it would be open to the public unless there were some situations that we were talking about, personnel matters or any of the other, I think, 12 items that allow us to have behind closed doors. But anyway, we want to have as much as we can publicly before y'all. But anyway, let's get going. Is there a motion to accept the consent agendas 1, 2, and 3?
I'd like to actually talk about the minutes. There's a couple of things I'd like to address real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, wait a second. Let's get a motion in a second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I was just kind of looking through it, and I apologize. I wish I could have done this a little ahead of time, but I'm looking at some things in the minutes, and there's a couple parts where let's see, Mr. Seth Hunter addressed Alderman Stilkin asking if he planned on recusing himself from the meeting. Alderman still refused to recuse himself. Then I was asked if I owned 6 pieces of property. And I refused to answer. And then Mr. Hunter provided a document showing that he had evidence of that anyways. And then once again, he asked me to recuse myself, and I refused to recuse myself. And my position is that I didn't refuse anything. I merely stated time after time that this meeting was not a deposition of an alderman, and that would be very inappropriate. And that what's actually happening here, he was supposed to be providing evidence as to why the building should not be condemned. And so I don't recall ever refusing anything, nor do I know that I was required to refuse to do anything. That's an alderman.
I mean, if they vote for it, if they don't vote for
If you would, Alderman Still, I think we can change that with a vote.
Well, I have a
The
couple
wording
of
that you would want.
changes that I was concerned about. Jumping to the voting, it says that I voted nay, and I did not vote yay or nay. I was merely present. And that's my fault for not being more clear. I apologize. I was a little upset at the time.
We can easily change that.
So I was present. And there is a statement that I feel should be added to the record. I think it might be important moving forward. But it was said by our attorney that the non-conforming code is not part of the flood code. That's part of our zoning code. And technically, when property sits fallow for a year, then some of those restrictions or some of that grandfather clause should come off. But we never, when we stop the building permit, never have we used that as a basis. We can't now come after the fact. And also, when asked about FEMA concerns, it was stated that if MEMA wanted to be here at this meeting has been known about for almost 2 weeks. And I feel that those things should be in this record moving forward. And I have a copy for that I can submit for this record to be submitted to that record.
Yeah, for the Alderman.
So you want your vote changed to abstaining?
Present.
Well, that's not an option.
It is.
I mean, I think the only way that you change the minutes is that you vote to change the minutes. I mean, it's not clear to me. I mean, he specified particularly, he stated, but it's not clear in these minutes exactly where we would change this. But we could look at it and say, well, every time that he said refuse, that, whatever that would be. I think it's a minor change, but I mean, I think that y'all can change the minutes on a vote. I don't think you ought to be adding any information. And I think that you could, even change that he abstained, or not abstained, but present if that's what y'all want to vote. Although I know that Melissa says that's not even an option.
Well, I mean, it's not on here, but
But I think that we can add it to the minutes with a proper voted amendment. So that I'll leave that to your guys. That's in your discretion. But I don't think you ought to be adding the language at the end that he talked about.
Yeah, my only concern would be, the agenda is not or the minutes are not a word for word, something. And it's more of a encapsulates kind of the intent of what happened. We actually have a word for word record of it through the YouTube video.
How would you suggest the best way to get those two things that our attorney said into the record?
Well, you can as a alderman, you probably submit that as a note, submit, but it won't be part of the agenda, the meeting notes. Just like the gentleman, Mr. Smith, when he gave some notes for you to include as part of the record.
Mhm.
You can include that as part of the record, and that'd be part of the documentation. But the agenda, I feel always like usually the agenda, when I read these minutes that our clerk writes up pretty, it's more of a summary of what happened, who was there, and the specifics, and when it was actually voted. I don't expect her to do word for word, just like I don't expect your language, that article be put in there. And just for follow on, I think, it was the first time we've heard an appeal, as a body. And there were some things that, I think we all learned. One is that whoever's standing there making an appeal does not have the authority to make a motion. He does not have that. That's not within the body, because he's not, the only people making a motion is actually one of the aldermen. So, I mean, but I think that was just, verbiage, because I think you're trying to get the information across. So I think you just submit that as a documentation, it's added to the record, and you can sign it. But I think you're clarifying what you voted. I think it needs to be updated. And we have changed things on the minutes without a formal vote in the past. So not to where we add a huge paragraph, but that's, to me, I think that's beyond what the scope of what the agenda minutes are supposed to be. And I don't want to put that burden on our clerk. That'll just be my feedback.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying. However, what we're doing right now is we're agreeing on what the minutes say. And that is part of the process, is that we get a minute to read them, reflect on them, and then meet again and edit them before we agree on them. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that is the proper procedure in this. And I did check. I don't disagree with what you're saying as far as submitting to the record, and that is acceptable. But I just don't recall making any refusals, nor being required to make a refusal as an argument of this board. I shouldn't have been deposed, quite honestly. I should have said, get to the point, and this entire body should have said, get to the point. That's what should have happened, and it didn't. But I'm a little bit upset because the minutes are now saying I refuse to recuse myself on several accounts. I refuse to answer questions I never should have been asked. It should have never happened. And so I'm looking at it, and It's not what I didn't refuse. I said, I'm not answering these questions because this is inappropriate.
I mean, you change the word to decline. I mean, you decline. I mean, I think the same thing as, I mean, really, it's a word choice. I mean, I know from your position, it means words have meanings, but whether, I mean, Melissa's just doing her job, and I appreciate her trying to capture the essence of what's going on. And I mean, you decline, but me just saying decline, it's the same, that kind of.
And that's not unfair, but at the same time, the situation should be looked at and addressed by this board moving forward, because looking at what happened and what's there, it is, well, it's not great.
Well, I gotta go back, at least we have it on YouTube, it's saved that way, word for word. And like I said, it's supposed to just be a capture of the
Speaking
verbiage.
of,
Like I
that's
said,
fine, don't you?
I'm fine, recommend you just go from a refusal or what it was to decline, you know, it's the same intent. I mean, decline the answer. I mean, I would decline the answers. I think that's acceptable to you're for that portion of that wording, but you know, you're right. When we approve the minutes on this, when we do the consent agenda, we're approving everything in there.
I don't think I was required to even answer. I should have remained silent, and I see that looking back.
Just out of curiosity, what is the verbiage that you were hoping for that you feel best?
Well, what I said, you know, and I went back and listened to what I said is it's not appropriate for you to ask me these questions. This is not why we're here. That's what I said, and that was recorded as a refusal to answer.
My recommendation is change the verbiage from decline, you know, from refusal to decline.
So how do we do it now? We've got a motion and a second for discussion.
Fix your vote.
yeah, then
to
they
the
just
president.
vote if they're good with that.
And then if you want to give specific verbiage into the record, you can submit as a memorandum record to
He's got the floor though.
What I gave you is sufficient.
I've got, oh, now this, I don't know. I mean, this is you're wanting me to add that these are things Rocky said.
Yeah.
So I would guess if Rocky agrees that he said those things, but I've got on here that
And
you would
Rocky
like
should
the
have-
minutes changed to present instead of nay, and that you would like me to reflect that you declined to answer Mr. Hunter's question rather than refused.
That's acceptable. And I think Rocky should have a chance to.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna agree to add this to the minutes. If you want to submit this statement to go along with the official minutes as what you think was said, and besides it was recorded, then do that. But I'm not gonna agree to that.
So like as an exhibit or
Yeah, you can make it as an exhibit to the minutes, Gerald's submission. You could even write on there Gerald's submissions for amendments to the minutes. And it can be it can be attached to the minutes, but I'm not gonna agree to add that.
Understand.
All right, so the issue at hand is
Changing the word
changing the verbiage
decline.
on number one, and for your second issue, changing your vote
Vote.
to abstain.
And then adding that as an exhibit.
to present.
Present.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Is it for the whole entire consent agenda?
No, this is, well,
Filling out number,
well,
the first
yeah.
part of number one, I guess.
Well, it could be for the entire consent agenda, since he only raised an issue as to the 318 minutes.
Well, I was gonna talk about utility agent report.
Then let's just make it then for the
Okay.
318 minutes. Yeah.
319.
No,
March 28th.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It
Was the 28th, wasn't it, the special meeting?
No, March 18th. Recess public hearing.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
because
28th.
no,
Oh, the
19th
28th was another thing. Never mind. Okay.
um,
18th. There's too many.
We've been busy.
Okay, let me go back and look at this.
Alrighty, but those changes, we got a motion, got a second. All in favor? Does that take care of 1, 2, and 3?
That only takes care of number 1.
Okay, now I will ask for a motion to accept numbers 2 and number 3 on the consent agenda. Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Wait a minute.
Oh,
we'll just-
go ahead, go ahead.
He's got a discussion because he wants to talk about number 3.
Just because we always have alternative time we get the semester report.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I think we'll talk about this in the following meeting. I'll be very quick. Like I said, I appreciate, like I said, we're slowly our aging report. That's basically the bills of people who don't pay for their sewer and water, sewer and trash. And we're, and so we got a list that we've been working through, and the mayor's working with us, and we got some moving forward, some things that just for kind of to give you a scope of it, we got about 43 people that owe $2,000 or more to the city. Of those 43 people, 20 of them owe over $6,000. And some of these are where they have their own septic system. So I think, you pull those out and it's about 4 or 5 of those, but the rest are actually people who are flushing their toilets in their houses, and the rest of the taxpayers are supporting them. They're not paying their actual sewer costs that the city is paying for them every month. And these are people that are on, these people are on Barrontown or Sunrise Water. So we can't, normally the city has a process where they're able to kind of leverage, hey, if you don't pay your bill, then your water gets turned off, and it kind of works through, but now there's no, that's the issue. But we have some solutions out there to work on. But again, the bill only gets higher in the last 3 years. It's gone from about $428,000 to now we're up almost over $600,000 to the city. So just imagine what your city can do with if people just pay their bills. I mean, easily the 43 people that are active, that's about $200,000. And I know from bills we had at $200,000 we just told them to think about doing. So we're we keep on talking about it, but eventually people have to step up and be accountable for what they are using resources. Because it's not fair to the rest of the taxpayers we're not being good stewards of our resources. So, but we'll talk about plans forward. But that's
Makes tough on everybody.
Every 3 or 4 months, we see the lists get posted again, and people.
It never goes down.
I do have a question there. I'm scrolling through and I'm looking at some of the price tags you're talking about here. Are these people receiving a bill every month with that number on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no. Some of them we've already picked up a trash can, so some of it's just a baseline. They're getting.
They're still active customers because they're on sewer. So
water, because water coming from Barrontown or Sunrise Utility, and like I said, we have no control of water coming into the house. And so, like I said, as water exits the house, it goes into our common, the city sewer systems, and eventually it all comes down to the Leaf River, and it all comes across, and we get metered. And the bill comes every month. We see it on the month here. We pay the bill to the city.
My concern is just making sure that they're getting the bill. They see this every month and they're tossing it and throwing it away. They're just ignoring that because
if they haven't paid it for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and we haven't done anything to them, they're not going to pay.
and so basically because they're getting water from not pedal water,
That's right.
we can't do anything about it.
Well,
We
have options, and that's what
again.
we got to go as a board have a
He
policy.
may not.
We have
prepared
started
next
installing
year.
Garbage only, though.
on some of the sewers.
He's not.
And we're requiring that on some of the newer.
Next year, he's not.
We can do that moving forward.
Everybody-
Make sure we don't get in the public.
We can
Exactly.
phone calls
But
on
in the
that, too.
past, unless we go back as we're fixing and addressing the system and installing shut-off valves there, where the sewage literally back up into the house if they don't pay their bill, so we don't have an issue, we'll still have an issue. Because they're not gonna pay, if I were sitting there and I'm thumbing my nose at you for 5, 6 years and you've done nothing to me, and now you say I owe $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, I'm gonna keep doing that. We are gonna have to go in and cut the sewage line at some point, period, and set an example.
With the proper notification. And I know there's and we would notify the water association, so they wouldn't, they'd be in coordination and
And they will not work.
Health department as well.
health department. So there's a process to do it
Yeah,
legitimately.
well, I applaud that, and I think that is a great thing for our city moving forward because that is a lot of money that I know a lot of people who are having trouble paying their bills. But they are. And I applaud you on your efforts.
We have people that have a septic system, but because they have a line in front of their house, are paying their sewage bills. They're not getting the sewage system, and they're still paying the bill. These people are getting the sewage system, not paying.
Some extent.
And there's actually some businesses on this list. You actually looked at the list. And
I was
so there might be some leverage points of like, oh, wait a minute, right here. It just makes sense. It's not fair to the rest of the taxpayers to subsidize those people down. And it's like wildfire. It's like, oh, my neighbor's not paying. I can save $50 a month. I'm not going to do it anymore. I mean, it's word of mouth is spread. That's why you actually see there's a momentum of people starting to do this. So you have to, like I said, and that's later
Well,
on.
unfortunately, it's not a new problem. I mean, a lot of this is in the annexed areas from 2003 or whenever. And so it's just been
Mike and Drew.
very difficult.
Okay, me too.
Hey, Kim, I mean, she's part of the team now.
I actually have a subdivision that's on the list too.
Can you imagine what I thought when I was an alderman and I found out like, I have to pay this? feel like an idiot. All these other people aren't. But anyway, very, very valid point. And if it was easy, it's one of those things, if it was easy, it'd already be fixed, but it's just not a great way to do this. So we basically thrown a bunch of things up against the wall, but we'll have to talk about this here in a little bit as well.
You gotta vote on 3.
Yeah, we need to vote on that. Got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Uh,
And if we could, let's move number 10 up to public, before public comment. And that is number 10 is request to adopt an order hiring Corey Compton as part-time police officer at a rate of $14 per hour, effective 4/3/2024. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, come on up, Corey. I didn't want to call you up too early. You never know.
Yes, sir.
He's coming around.
Okay.
Come on up.
Nice to meet y'all.
Gerald, sit.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Good to see you.
All right.
Good. Good. How about you? Good.
Nice to meet you.
They're gonna want to see you. That's the camera that's hot
Oh,
up
okay.
there. So if you will, just face me and repeat after me. I, Corey Compton,
I, Corey Compton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Mississippi,
of the State of Mississippi,
and obey the laws thereof,
and obey the laws thereof,
that I am not disqualified
that I am not disqualified
from holding the office
from holding the office
of police officer,
of police officer,
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
the office
the office
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
One more thing to do, you and her will sign this, it will be official.
Okay.
Good deal, thank you.
Congratulations, Corey.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Told him just to update. My name is L-R-E-Y.
EY?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. Like my son.
all right.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
All righty, Chief, appreciate you sharing folks with you, as I've said often. I knew I was always, and I guess even as mayor, felt like I was running to people at Walmart and they'd get mad because I didn't, I just started working for them. They just voted for me. Well, if we hadn't met them, we don't know. So we've always tried to make a habit of bringing folks in here and making a big deal and showing our folks off. So I always appreciate our department heads helping out on that. Now, public comment. Hey, you got Mr. Howard? Come on up here.
How y'all doing? Mayor?
Mr. Howard, spell your last name for us.
B-A-S-S.
Yeah, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, go ahead, what's going
I
on?
know comments, I'm new in this part of town, just
Yeah.
been here 8 years until. I've met this morning before, so I just want to introduce myself to everyone so I can see who representing me.
Awesome.
That's it. No comments, just introduction.
That's awesome. Nice to meet you.
Good deal, Mr. Howard, nice to meet you. Always welcome.
No, I don't know my own.
Miss Kim, where do you live?
King Street.
Okay, well, then I'm your alderman.
All right, then.
Your alderman already trying to give you off to another alderman. I tell you, you just never know. Free breakfast or something. That's just what I heard. But anyway, hey, Steel Kids, come on up here. Hey, gang, how we doing today?
Good evening, Board of Aldermen and Mayor Ducker. I feel like I know you guys much more than you know me. I'm kind of interested in politics. I've read over my dad's shoulder as he types the letters you're probably tired of seeing. I've listened to political discussions that are frequent in our house. Even at a young age, I understand these ordinances in most of the situations. Anyone can see that the structure 106 Stevens Street has fallen in on itself. Just looking out the window, you can make several observations. One, it is broken down from being built. Thankfully, it was empty at the time, but that could have been your friends and family inside. Two, you can see that it is clearly too close to my family's home. It is on the property line, an issue we had hoped to be avoided by the city's ordinances. I know Alderman Bullock and Alderman Lott stated that we knew this structure was nearby when we bought our own home. However, we also thought the city's rules would protect us. And believe me, I know all about rules from school. Also, my parents did know that the structure was there when they purchased the house, but for some reason, the rules that are clearly cited are being ignored. I assume you know why we have zoning codes. They are put in place by the board to protect people and our residents. And as the Appendix A zoning section 2, they are also put in place to reduce fire hazards and losses and to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the present and future inhabitants of the city. This argues the fact that if the residents are threatened, they have a large say in matters that regard them. This nearby building does not meet the requirements for a C2 building. One mistake in a restaurant or bakery could start flames, and the lack of distance between structures could send our house down with it. Maybe you see me as a kid spewing out numbers that I don't understand, but ever since this issue has come into my life, me and my brothers have researched and comprehended that this is our lives ignoring. Also, Alderman Bullock was my soccer coach. During the practices, we prayed about the importance of having integrity, following the rules, and just being a good person. That is why I hope I can trust you to do the right thing. This Board of Aldermen is supposed to protect us, specifically in this situation. Honestly, it's hard to put into words all the reasons the rules need to be tended to. My brother will pass around a picture. It is clear that this building is in need of substantial improvement. A building that needs substantial improvement needs to be built to code because the rules are so clear on this topic. The rules say that since this building has been empty for so long, it needs to be brought to code. Just one second. Okay.
If that building that is on fire, also go with it. And
we need help. Thank you for letting us speak tonight.
Alderman Bullock, what was that you were saying? What were you saying?
I asked if these were the pictures she put on Facebook.
Oh, no, I mean, when my children were talking, you were trying to tell them something. You were mouthing something and I could not hear you.
Yeah, you were also asking me something.
They're all the same one.
I'd like to-
Alrighty, we're there. No. There is a point of order.
Point of
And
order, I'd
the
like
mayor
to-
actually runs these meetings. So the point of order is that we allow people to come up here. If they want to ask us questions, we answer or don't. If there really
Well, I'd
any
like to
questions in there.
respond.
Go ahead. But do you want to come up and make a comment at the podium?
Do I need to walk around?
No, not you.
I mean, I would like to respond.
I mean, you can
Thank
respond
you.
there, or you can come here if you want to.
Okay, I was trying to.
You can go either way.
Okay, so I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Jared, Decline. I decline to answer your question.
Good answer. Good answer. Because what I heard you say is that,
Move on.
may I respond?
You can respond.
Okay. What I would like to point out here is that what I'm trying to get to happen here is the rules to be followed. That is all I've ever asked for from the beginning, is that the rules be followed. And so I would like to respond to what's happening here, because there is some animosity and hatred here being directed at me. You're mouthing things at me. You're telling my wife she should be ashamed of
You
herself.
would like to have the rules followed, or you would like your kids to get up here and emotionally
I want the
try
rules
to get them to
followed.
make a decision?
And at this point, we're to a point where we have crossed so many.
Gerald,
So many-
You're gonna, I think say, you're gonna say something ironic here, so go ahead.
Cross tonight is writing a speech for your children to question my integrity.
No,
That's
no.
a line that you cross.
Well, I am questioning the integrity of the sport.
That's a line
I
that you
am.
cross.
They voted themselves. We voted.
Trust me, I cannot help with that. I was worked it.
They wrote the entire.
You know my
thing.
kids well
They
enough.
gave me like some evidence, but like I incorporated it. I'm 13 on that.
Okay, so can we?
Yeah, I would like
let's,
to,
move on to the-
yeah, I would like to move on. Alrighty, Chris, come on up.
Just like to start the First off, I don't want to be up here. The only reason I'm up here is because as one issue was brought to my attention, I kept digging, I got a bit curious and I started seeing a pattern of behavior made by this board that has put my home in jeopardy and has put the homes of everybody that I know on my street in jeopardy as far as their flood insurance is concerned. So as many times as I need to come up here for y'all to take this seriously, I'm gonna keep coming back. So just out of curiosity, last time I spoke to talk about the jeopardy that was the NFIP that we were in jeopardy of losing. I was wondering if any of y'all had taken the liberty to actually contact MEMA.
We have, and we do not believe what you're saying is correct.
Who is we?
Our
The
building department,
administration.
the administration, there we go.
Have any aldermen?
Yes, we're actually talking to the same people you've been talking to.
And who did you talk to?
I'm not gonna throw out any names right now. Just you keep, y'all, if y'all feel like y'all need to keep badgering them, y'all can continue to do that.
I don't know who you're talking about. I've been doing this on my own. Thank you.
You understand?
No, I talked to
Alderman
Jonathan
Still's
Hughes,
calling, obviously. I mean, that's not a big
floodplain management
secret.
specialist at MEMA. And I explained the situation to him. He said that sounded like a very clear violation, but it's entirely out of his hands because FEMA has already opened an audit on the city of Patton. And they're going to be coming and they're going to be reviewing all of the city for violations that would violate the NFIP and places on probation, which, as I explained my previous time up here, would increase everybody's rate by $50 while they're on probation. And something I didn't know at the time is probation is minimum a year long. Once we're on it for a year. So, and I just learned this today that Fort Myers Beach, Florida, they were not put on probation. They actually reached a deal with FEMA. Their rates went up by 25%. Fort Myers Beach, Florida has a population of less than 6,000 people. And that is going to cost the city of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, between $14 and $17 million. Just because of that rate increase, because they could not comply with the NFIP ordinances and regulations. So y'all are talking about up here, talking about saving $200,000. I think it's a pretty big deal if we're talking about saving between $14 and $17 million. We're about twice the size of Fort Myers Beach, Florida. So again, please take this seriously because I don't want to lose my flood insurance. And I'm sure pretty much everybody in this city who is on a flood insurance plan doesn't want to lose it either.
So Chris, I did speak with the director of FEMA for this region. And we actually looked over the documents of the property in question. And we talked to Greg Lane. And he's made it clear that that is a clear violation. And he's watched the meetings. And we've watched parts of them together. And he's made it clear that it is absolutely a violation. And that if the situation at 106th Street is not rectified, and it will have to be rectified, we will not be able to stay in the program. And there was no if, there was no stuttering, there was no nothing. I'm saying this on a live meeting that I will definitely share.
I said what I said on a live meeting.
It was very clear.
Mhm.
And I'm afraid that the aldermen do not understand the severity of their decisions. And I'm
Once again,
still-
talking down to the aldermen, your colleagues who
I'm
are
talking-
voted into
I'm talking
office
to
just
the- I'm
like that.
talking to the aldermen.
I know you are. You're telling them you're
And I'm
smarter than them.
That they personally call for themselves.
If I maybe take back my time. When I
Oh, yeah, no, you got plenty of
to
time.
Jonathan Hughes, his words were, and I quote, FEMA has been very enforcement happy the past few years. So I don't think they're going to play around. One of the cities that I mentioned, there were 6 cities placed on suspension. Last time I spoke up here, one of those cities had less than 10 violations. And they were placed on suspension for the program because they refused to rectify those violations. So Gerald has put a link about this one property. Like I said, that was the tip of the iceberg for me. I went looking. That has not been the only violation. That has not been the only ordinance given or only variance given against ordinances that were adopted by this board. So we have more than 10 violations. I can almost guarantee you that. So we've dug ourselves a hole. I hope y'all are aware of that. Thank you.
Disagree, but thank you for your time. Alrighty, no bids and quotes, no proclamations or resolutions, I have to say. No bids and quotes, no old business. General business, number 4, request to approve the docket claims for the month of March 2024. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Number 5, request to adjust services billed to 507 South George Street as follows due to a leak. Water $74, Late fee, $24.64. Is there a motion? Motion in a second.
Paperwork there.
Yes.
And I think we usually add, that's a small one. I guess they knew they only get one shot, right?
Yeah,
That's what they say.
I was wondering about that too, so.
Yeah, they always tell them, some folks take the smaller number.
Sometimes we call them
all right,
back
got a
and tell
motion.
them.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, per Chief Hyatt, request to accept agreement with Carfax to utilize as an investigative tool for motor vehicle crashes. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sounds fun.
It is.
Number 7, request to pay the estimate number 4 in the amount of $193,205.83 to Sports Contractors Unlimited LLC for infield turf at Robert E. Russell Sports Complex per SDW. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 8, request to set a hearing date of April 30th, 2024 at 6 p.m. for property located at 58 City Barn Loop.
Make a motion. Second.
There is, it's like the only maybe 1 or 2 houses. And the only reason I know is we didn't have water over there one time. I got a phone call from them. I was like, I didn't know anybody live back there, but I think it's zoned one way, but they want to sell their house. So they want to get rid of that process before they,
So the C2 right now. So
Yeah.
Technically, unless they've grandfathered in, they're in violation of even living on a commercial
yeah,
property.
exactly.
Unless they, well, yeah, unless they were grandfathered in.
And,
And the man.
yeah, that's a very unique situation because like I said, once dealing with C1, C2 property, it's about screening. So that makes adjacent neighbors have to do certain things. You go from a C back to residential. So, good luck, planning commission. Getting this recommendation for us.
Yes.
But,
I will say that I just know the area pretty well. I don't foresee any protest or anyone being upset by the action.
but we're looking for long term, not just for this one sale. This is about zoning is there for long term development and enforcement. It's like I said, once we draw a line and change lights and things like that.
Maybe, but I would say this though. A lot of times, you know, when zoning was developed, it was developed to protect residential from a business going next door and devaluing your property. And then there are some other situations, but normally, you know, you're looking at protecting the residences from commercial or industrial establishments. And it's not oftentimes where a residential establishment in the middle of a bunch of commercial establishment, it's going to devalue the commercial establishment or affect it negatively. So I would just say that whatever the planning commission decides to do, that the factors are a little bit different as if they had been, as opposed to if they'd been reversed.
This, I've been back there before. It's been a few years back. We had a car repaired by the guy that was towing it. He did a bad job, but and he was living in this garage at the time.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. It was, and it's an interesting building.
Anyways, just like I said, this guy talk about, we were working with C1, C2, and
Yeah.
to me, it's about screening. Screening is, because like I said, I don't want to incur a cost to a neighboring commercial property because by law, by code, we would require that new commercial property to put new screening on their side.
So when this comes back, you know, we should probably include that even if this is changed, you know,
Yeah.
that for this property, you know, there will be no screening requirements of the neighboring commercial properties. That might be a way around that issue.
All right, got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Seminars and travel, yeah. Number 9, request for Craig Strickland to attend MAP DD in Biloxi, 23rd to the 26th. Total cost $778.72 plus mileage. Is there a motion? There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Do I need to refuse?
Nah, you're good. Okay, we've already taken care of number 10. And number 11 is request to adopt an order raising the mayor pro tem salary to $12,500 annually per budget. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I do appreciate, what does the mayor pro tem do? He comes in and signs checks if I'm not available. And today I actually I get my oil checked once a year. Blood work. So I thought I was really talking about my truck earlier, but it was Wanda. And so he was able to stand in. We had the ribbon cutting today. I know it probably wasn't quite the same, but appreciate you standing in for me today and everything. And another ribbon cutting, so that's fantastic. In the mayor's report, obviously we've got our Thursday night event, 6 to 8, and then 6 to 9:30 ish. Well, just past that down at the River Park with the Molly Ringwalds on Saturday. So you got anything you want to add to anything?
Got a bunch of great vendors, lots of food. The weather's supposed to be nice.
No.
Come on.
I know I've been watching it. That's like,
When do we expect fireworks to kind of take off at 10:30 or, I mean, we're
I'm
not
telling you,
seeing
it's only 9:30, 9:45. They're going to play 7:30 to 9:30.
Yeah.
They play 2 hours straight, no break. And then I just shortly after they say good night, we'll trigger them. There'll be a lot of like the 4th of July and a couple of things that I want to talk about when we in our work session tonight, just kind of brainstorming. But Alderman going to add anything? All right. Don't have anything else. So is there a motion? Oh, yeah.
Ms. Ada?
That's about the 3rd meeting in a row I've done that to you. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, Ms. Ada.
One is Saturday night and one is Thursday night. Now, what this need to be corrected.
Thursday night is just a get together over here at the Civic Center. That's the history. You know, we'll put a little bit more out on it. Had the story over there. We should be on the community stuff with WDM as well.
Yeah, they should.
So
And then Saturday night is down there on the water.
Mhm.
So I ain't going. I ain't going there. But the other one I'm seeing, but I mean, it needs to be out because a lot of people out there around here don't know that. They don't know nothing if I don't tell them.
well, brother Carl should be there, huh? Yeah.
I made sure he knows about it.
Yeah. But we expect to see you over there.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure. I saw a couple more things. I went looking today. A couple more things that's going on in Pella that I just found out about it because I looked it up. And so when y'all got stuff going on in Pella, y'all need to put it out for people to know. Oh, I don't know.
You need to get on Facebook.
I'm not a Facebook person.
But you know, y'all's church's sermons are on there. Y'all's church's sermons are on there. Awesome. See there, you can miss and just watch it on Facebook. All righty. Is there a motion to adjourn? Understanding we got a general work session that I wanted to throw a couple things out at y'all. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You can kill that. Cool. Thanks, kids.